think it's, oh, yeah, it's recording. All right. Okay. Yeah, I'm really bad. I just got this computer. I've never had a good computer before. Hi. Let me put my glasses on. How are you?
Little older. I have not matured though. So
I really like that video that you made with your students. It was like,
thanks, man.
I don't know,
It
it
was
was
fun.
like, it's like for, it was like, be real with your kid, be real, it was a good lesson for kids to talk. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun to make and a
So,
pain, but yeah.
tell me what like, basically, I just want to know, like, what your experience was there. And that's just, I don't think that a lot of people that were there when we were there, I don't think anyone really knows what it was like, the good and the bad, because I think that our experience in our school was very different from the obviously abusive schools, like Provo or like the other stuff, and it makes it trickier. But yeah, so that's why I really want to know, like, everybody's opinion. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, and it's you can't reduce the truth to CEDU is a good place, CEDU is a bad place, right? Everybody
Right.
has a different story, and your experience, my experience as a staff member is way different than yours. Just the fact that I was a staff member and was not forced to go there. So, who's your intended audience? Do you think?
Well, like, for example, like, my dad still doesn't believe me. Like, he still doesn't believe that anything bad, that there could have been anything. Like, I've very bad, I've complex post-traumatic stress from being there, but it's also
Really?
like, my mom died after I was there for a month, and they didn't handle that very well.
Right.
So it's like I had a very extreme case of being there, like, where therefore, like, there were people in my peer group that, like, that were just there to take care of their diabetes, and maybe like were allowed to drink on home visits, and, like, maybe didn't have such a negative experience there, so they really don't understand why some of us did.
Yeah.
So that's but like the reason why I started doing this is that a guy reached out on Facebook about, he went to a school similar, and he wanted to talk to other people from the troubled teen industry. And I was like, oh, have you talked to anybody from CEDU? And he was like, no. And I was like, I thought that we were the originator. Like, I thought we were the OG of those schools. And
Right.
like, we kind of were, but it was all from Synanon. But like, there are so many, like, the one that he went to, like, kids were there for 6 years, and like, it wasn't like you didn't, it was, but like, some things were different, but like, some things were very much the same. But like, I didn't know, like, the school closed down in 2005. I thought there were no more, like, I thought that, and you know, uh, not that it was all horrible and all, or all great, but like, yeah, the ones that followed were much worse. Like, I think that, like, if any one of them was positive, ours was. I do not believe that is the case for most of the other ones.
Huh.
And yeah, but sorry, I'm talking too much. I want to hear what you have to say.
No, it helps. So you said that your dad doesn't believe. So is it for people like your dad or for other people who just don't
Well, like, so that's just my
know?
personal thing. But so when I started talking to this guy, and I was like, oh, I'm trying to get my other friends to, like, would you want to be interviewed by this guy? He did 60 interviews with people, and the interviews are like 3 hours long, and
Hmm.
it's all different schools. And I was like his second CEDU interview. And I was like, there's so many, and I didn't know, but it was like, no, these people were just like a couple years got out of their school. So it was like these schools are like all over still, and it's like, and they're not. It's much worse. Like, there's no regulation, and like, uh, yeah. But like, it's also to show, like, why, uh, why it's so confusing. Like, it was a very special place, and like, we know that, like we learned. I remember being able to talk my way around adults when I was 17. You know what I mean? Like, you become emotionally smarter than a
Yeah.
60-year-old, most like 50-year-olds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and so, I can't say that that didn't help me out. You know what I mean? There's just a lot of things that you got out of it, but like, But yeah, I mean, but yeah, sorry, I'm talking too much.
No, I appreciate where you're coming from, and I've kept in touch with a lot of folks from CEDU, some in your peer group, some not, and a lot of
Everyone that they all love you. Everybody has the best things to say about you. So
that's
I'm
very
sure you know. I mean, you must know that. But yeah, everybody loves you. Yeah.
that's nice to hear, and frankly, I have a lot of love still for a lot of the people that you guys that were there. I remember you like it was yesterday. I remember you sitting there with your guitar like it was yesterday, right? So, but a lot of the folks that I've talked to are hesitant to even start talking about CEDU because of the negative bashing, and a lot of them are just like, I'm just so sick of the CEDU bashing. Like I'm just like, get over it, people. So I think you could get a lot of people to kind of come out of the woodwork, knowing that, like, look, this is just about kind of what your experience was like, and we're not trying to, like, say CEDU's bad or anything like that, because that's been done so much. It's been done so much, right?
Right.
Okay, well, here's the story how I even got to CEDU. I finished my master's degree in Boston in I guess it was June, and I ended up at CEDU at the end of August. So I was going to get my PhD, but being around my professors, I realized that they were mostly miserable, and I did not want to become them. So I was like, okay, my dream of becoming, or my desire to become a professor, that's gone. What do I do? Well, I'm going to go back to California, and I'm just going to throw out. I did 200 resumes to every private high school in California, because I didn't want to teach high school, because I didn't want to teach me. But I was like, I need a job.
How old are you? You're like 26 probably or something, right?
So yeah, I think that's about right. I was 26. And so this is going to be temporary. And I was actually interviewing at a school in LA, staying with a buddy, and I got this hit from CEDU, which I'd never heard of. So I drive up the mountain, come to this school, and after a short face-to-face interview, they said, can you come back for a full day interview? And I said, sure. So the thing that I remember most about that was the calling off of raps. And so I don't know if you're going to explain this to people or not.
Yeah.
But I have a picture of do you have a picture of the inside of the lodge?
Oh yeah, those are all over. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I am in the lodge, and everybody's, 100 kids sitting around this huge pit in these cushions, and they call off, okay, 20 kids' names. You're going to be with Russ in the summit room. And everybody starts cheering. And I'm just like, okay, this is weird. And they do that for every kid there. And I'm going into one of these raps. And so we go up to this room, and I think it was Emerson maybe. And we're sitting in these hard chairs. There's one for everybody, including me and the facilitator, Martin. And he welcomes me, and says, okay, let's get down to business. And all of a sudden, a bunch of kids get up and move across the room, and the kids where they're walking to vacate their chairs and go sit in the chairs, and they all get across from this one kid, Lucas, and they're like, Lucas, I guess he had run away and been brought back. And they're like, Lucas, what the hell are you doing, man? You could have died out there. That one kid disappeared. They never found him again. Another kid. Yeah. And I had to take, I'm your dorm head, and I had to pick up your slack and do your chair. And then another kid, like, yeah, and you said we went through this brothers thing together, and you said we're best, like we're friends.
What are you talking about?
And I'm like, what is going on? And but they're talking to him just flat out bluntly in a way that, my friends, we didn't talk like that. And then all of a sudden, Martin's just like, okay, Lucas, you got to take a look at the damage you're doing. Like, your actions, they have consequences for other people. Now let's move on. And all of a sudden, same thing. People get up, move across, boom, they're across from this kid, Rachel. And they're like, Rachel, what happened? And she's kind of tearing up. She's like, I had a crappy phone call with my parents, right? So I learned that every 2 weeks you get a 15-minute phone call with your parents. And she's like, my mom was drunk. on my one phone call, I get to talk to her. And this one girl, one of the older students, is like, I know exactly what you're going through. The same thing happened with my dad, and shared openly and honestly about all this emotional stuff. And this went on for 2 hours. And then just with kids talking so honestly and courageously to each other in a way I've never even seen. And then at the end, Martin's like, okay, time's up. Everybody get into a smush pile. A smush pile is where all the kids, like puppies, get into this one big pile and it's like everybody wanted a piece of the facilitator. And I'm just sitting in my chair and I'm looking up, and this man is draped in children. And I'm like,
man named Draped in Children.
I'm like, I have to work here. I don't care if they pay me. Like, what is going on, right? And so that's, and then I went up and talked to the headmaster, and we talked about money, and he whatever offer he gave. So I'm like, yep, I'm in. Let's do it. And so
did you have to move up the mountain, right?
Yeah. I moved up the mountain. At some point, I moved in with some of my staff member friends, Kurt and Russ, and we kind of shared a house. And then later, I moved in with Joel, my buddy Joel, who worked at CEDU. And then there was another guy, Rob, who he had a downstairs, and I moved in with him and his family. Like, so I was just kind of moving around with kind of staff, right? Yeah, so I was living up there. So that's how I got there. What else do you want to know?
Wow. So what were like the things that maybe like we didn't know? You know what I mean? Like what were like maybe things that like how would they handle certain situations? Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, what would they tell you to do? Like, maybe what they would tell you to do if this happened, or like, I'm trying, like what, like when I don't know, I guess you weren't even there when my mom died. I thought that you were.
I think it was after, because I came into your children's. That's when I joined.
Right.
So
yeah,
I remember
you and for like the staff in our peer group, it was you and Nancy and Elizabeth, right?
Yeah.
Was there anybody else, or was that it?
That was it.
Yeah, I feel like we used to be able to talk to like Joel and Elizabeth on Facebook, but like they must have gotten some sort of, I don't know, I mean, spooked away. But yeah, I wish that, they knew that like it wasn't, that they could talk to us and we didn't hold, you know what I mean? But
yeah.
Okay, what else? What did you think? Did you go through the truth prophet?
No.
You didn't? Okay.
No.
So what did you, so I guess so did you have to do work before the dyads and the children?
That's the first work I remember doing is the dyads. And so it's an interesting, I don't know how to characterize having a staff member, an adult who's 26 and then 27, maybe even 28, going through a heavy emotional growth program as a passenger with a 15-year-old kid.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah.
Looking back on that, it's like.
I remember what your face looks like when you cry. Like, I remember exactly the way that the tears like would well up in the bottom of your face, and the way that they would, the line they would, like, I remember your face when it cried. Like, I remember, yeah, like I know, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like I specifically remember where your eyelashes attached to the bottom of your eye, like what it looked like when you would cry.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we would just see it so much.
Yeah.
Like there's been multiple times where I've recognized alumni in the world by the way they ran, because we would run so much, and like just by the back of them, because I recognized Michelle Furlit, Joe Banter recognized me, and a couple other people. Like we just recognized each other in real life. Like I was running across the Philadelphia train station, and to see if I missed the train. I got to the middle, and Joe Banter ran up to me. He's like, I didn't remember his name. I'm like, I know you. He's like, Joe Banter. He's like, Karibon, I recognize you across the entire station by the way you ran. I didn't even see your face. I was like, that's Karibon. I recognize her, but because we knew each other so well. It wasn't like, yeah, it's hard to explain to other people. Like that you knew when somebody was out of, was breaking the rules by their body language. Like you knew, like you could tell. We knew each other so well that, like that it was obvious when somebody was lying or dishonest just because of the way that they acted.
So it's funny you say that, because one of the gifts that I got, it was after the I and Me. That transformed me, but as a person, but also as a teacher. I can tell after that moment, I can read people. I know when people are lying.
Yeah.
When they're full of shit. I just know by their body language, by the way they're carrying themselves. It's all of a sudden, it was just like, okay, I got this magic power now.
Yeah, but it's like, but I would have loved, like, I would have loved to have done that as an adult and really been able to take it in. You know what I mean? Like, it must have been a lot different to learn that stuff as an adult, or somewhat adult. I don't know, 20. If you were fully adult when you're 26,
no,
but like, but like as a fully formed person and having those, lessons. But but like, I remember just being able to talk my way out of crazy stuff, or just make fun of teachers, and then just like, just go to the principal's office. They just want to deal with me. So I'd say something way smarter than they. But, a lot of us have had that experience, but. So what was like, so then you went to the children's, and then you went to the brothers. You didn't have to go. Did you have to do any of the wilderness things? I feel like you did.
No, I didn't.
No.
I went on some wilderness stuff. I think the 3-dayer. I think I helped out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's all. That was it.
And then so then I mean, did you? And then we did go through the Imagine through. Did we go through the Imagine together? Does I remember?
I don't think so. I think at some point you guys pushed on, and I can't remember the reason. They needed me to do something else, and so then I ended up not finishing with you guys. I think it was, I didn't go through the summit with you guys. I think I went through everything else. Because I remember
the pictures that we had in the Imagine. So I'm like, I remember Sandra's and I remember Nancy's, I think. And I think I remember Elizabeth's, maybe. But yeah, I remember Sandra's because I'm going to edit. I'm not going to say like a lot of names.
Yeah.
I remember Sandra's because like she was staff, and like she was like really upset because her parents only sent her a photocopied picture of herself when she was little.
Yeah,
so it's like, it really shows how my parents don't think that what I'm doing is worth anything, and it really made her like, that was like a double,
Yeah.
Can you listen? But can you listen to the song Imagine now? Do you still like that song?
No, I never listened to it. Never. No. I've heard it one too many times. It doesn't kill me the way it does some people. I know some people have like, it's like a trigger. For me, it's not a trigger. I'm just like, I can't listen to that song anymore.
Funny. Yeah, I mean, so because I mean, you read my post when I started this. It's like, it was like painful for people, but like, there were a lot of people that like I don't find at fault at all, and that was like you and John LV and Joel and Elizabeth and obviously Dennis and like, Judy Bello and like the teachers and Kurt, and I found out that Rob was in Eric Garvin's wedding. Rob Lowe, like, they're still in touch, and like, but like, but it's also hard. Like, I don't have any bad memories about people like Guy Bonanno, but I know that a lot of people do. Or like, I actually don't have any bad memories about Martin Weens, but a lot of people do. Or, but yeah. So, but it took. I mean, but yeah, I like. There is a lot of people that disagree on a lot of the pros and cons of it. But like. What did you agree? Like, I'm like, everyone wants to know, like, did you like agree with how harsh it was on us? Like, like the whole thing, like the first thing we learned is, to the degree you feel your sorrow, the same degree you feel your joy and the truth. But it's like, so, but, the amount of like how crazy it got, like, did you think it was like necessary, or, I guess that's kind of what everybody wants to know. Like, but it's also, I mean, we don't like blame you. It was also like, I think that it is by definition a cult because of the way that they pretty much made us not think about things, like the students, not you, but like for us, like, you know, we weren't allowed, if like, especially like with me and Jackson, like if I wanted to talk to Jackson and be Jackson's friend, I had to not think about him and not look at it, like the whole bands thing. And like the blindly, like, you know, just doing what you're told. And it's just, but there's are definite things that are like by definition, like, you know, cult like practices. And not that there would, you know, not that anyone's at fault, but it's like, you know, you kind of got caught up in the system, you know, and you like, it took me like years to figure out like, you know, maybe these weren't like the best things, but it's like, I, you know, was waiting for my freaking tires to be fixed at a BJ's and I picked up a book and it was The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. And I sat there for an hour and I was texting with Jackson, like how happy it made me. And it was like, I love this book still. Like, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like this book is part of me as a human. Like I can recite, your children are not your children. They're the sons and daughters of life longing for itself. And though they come, you know what I mean? Like it's, you know, it's like our Bible. And it's like, but it's still not negative. And that's, you know, that's really fucking interesting just from even an outsider's, you know, viewpoint of like, I am still suffering from, you know, being there, but like their Bible, I still love. And
Yeah.
I don't have any negative connotations with. So it's,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
It's a weird thing. And what I hear, I don't hear you saying this, but I hear a lot of people are trying to tease it out so they can locate something or someone to blame for their bad experience.
Yeah,
right?
I don't think that's it. I don't think that's the right idea because I don't
Right.
think it was just, you know, it all came from Synanon. It was like this whole thing, but it was like there was it wasn't, you know, it wasn't even necessarily Pamela Bell's fault or Martin Williams' fault. It's like they had an employers and they had a script they had to follow.
Right.
There were actual literal scripts that they had to follow. So it wasn't, you know what I mean? It's not really their fault either, you know?
Right. And so I guess behind the scenes, back to your question, what it was like being a staff member, at least my experience, is you're brought into this like amazing work, like this hard, in-depth, emotional, like taxing, but also beautiful work. And as a staff member, I came in as an English teacher, but the way the school is set up, the real power, the real impact players are the counselors, right? So I ended up pushing over to become a counselor for that reason. And as you're going through the program, you're buying into it. I am buying into what CEDU is about. And so the idea of questioning never really came up. Like I can look back now and say that, okay, I'm in a dyad with a 15-year-old kid and we're screaming and blowing snot at each other. Like I can look back and go like, maybe there's a problem with that, right? But in the midst of it, no, I'm just like going for it. And this kid is saying all this stuff that's hitting me in my heart and it's like opening me up. And then the next kid is doing the same thing. And it's just like, I'm growing more as a human being than I had like my first 25 years of my life. Right.
Right.
So it's very, you know, that it's, yeah, so I'm not questioning. I will say though, I had conversations with some people on the way, like one staff member would tell me about in the old days where you would have, they didn't call them team heads, they call them family heads.
I got there right when that changed.
Okay, so and people would, and so some of the older crew would say like, yeah, it used to be you have a problem with your father, like your dad has been abusive. That's okay. I'll be your father now.
Yeah.
I'll be your mother now. Right. And I directly, literally taking the place, you know, and they're sharing this like that was messed up, right, back in the day. So there definitely were some people looking back and questioning some stuff. But I didn't get there until I was a team head. And so I had my own team. Like I have more power and more influence than I ever had. And yet I was miserable. I was totally burnt out. I saw that at that point in time, I saw kind of behind in the kind of corporate level and about how it was, in my estimation, there was a a lot of emphasis was on keeping heads in beds and making sure that the school turned a profit, and perhaps accepting some kids that probably should not have accepted at that time. And so that's when I decided to leave, because I couldn't do that anymore.
How long did you stay? How long were you there for?
4 years.
Oh, okay. Oh, man, you were a team head like that fast.
I was assistant team head for at least a year, and then I would say my last year, maybe year and a half, I was a team leader, something like that. Yeah. I'm
impressed with. I'm like, good for you. Wow, like you're on the level like Pam Bell, sweet. I'm like, good for you. I'm like, it's so funny.
Right.
So yeah. So what were like maybe some things on like the prep feeds and stuff that like you thought were too much, like, or that maybe, you really didn't agree with, or maybe weren't unnecessary, maybe, or.
Some of the physical stuff, like the holding you down, where people were holding people down and you would have to like try to get up, but then if you got up, then you were supposed to drop down again. So I can't remember what it was for, feeling the weight of the world.
I can't remember if that was the I Want to Live, or I remember that, or
I think you're right. I think it was that.
Or the I and Me. I can't, but yeah, I think it might have been the I Want to Live. But I can't remember Friday Nights of the Fights, if that was the I Want to Live or if that was the I and Me too. Because I think that was the one with the towel.
Yeah, you're right.
That was
that was the second one I was going to say. That stuff where you're either physically being held down, holding somebody down, even though it's explained, and then also the fighting one. Just the fear that created. I remember actually that I was always afraid of everything that was coming, because I didn't know what the hell there was coming next, right?
It's also like, if you're a staff, you're also getting paid to do this. So it's like, if you don't do what they say you to do, like tell you to do, it's also your job. So it's like, yeah, it's different. It's a whole different, like, not thinking about, questioning or, being there, what we're telling you to do. Right.
Right. And there was definitely some times where we as staff, we would talk about stuff that would be inappropriate to share, like at any point, like, okay, there's some lines we're not going to cross. Like, we would definitely have those conversations.
Right. Yeah. Oh, wait, they would tell you that? They would tell you to not share things?
There absolutely, there would be some stuff, and it was more generalized, but it was like, on a, you write dirt lists and you read them out loud or you share them. Like, there's some stuff as a 26-year-old that I was not supposed to share with a 15-year-old, right? I can't remember anything specific that I personally had to hold back, but it was like, I don't know.
That's hilarious. Yeah, because in one of the documentaries, there's like, somebody talks about like having the staff members share lots of stuff, and I don't remember that at all. But that's funny. What are some of the people that like really stood out to you that like maybe got like fell through the cracks, or like I always think about, like, do you remember that kid Simon that was in the middle school?
No.
There was this kid Simon who was like, I don't know what was wrong with him, but he had like he had huge glasses, he could barely see through them. He looked like he was 8 years old, and he was there for like 6 years. Or like who graduated with me, but like he was developmentally something was wrong, and he was there to take care of his diabetes, and like they kind of like let him slide through, but like I don't know, you must remember him, right?
I don't remember him.
No, it just seemed like there would like what was weird was like they would take, anybody, and like didn't matter kind of what you did or whatever, and you were just kind of had to, because you weren't allowed to judge people, right? There was that whole thing of like, you can't like call somebody a loser, or like, or you can't even like make fun of your friends, kind of a thing. Like, there was none of that, but like not being able to be honest about what you thought about, like obviously, because I'm gonna edit the hell out of this, but like for example, when I was going through the brothers with somebody like disclosed that they had sex with every animal on the farm.
I know you're
And
talking
it was
about.
like, I was friends with this person till after I graduated, still, and I
Yeah.
will still be friends with this person. But like, but it's like after I mentioned this slightly in the interview that I did with that other guy, and I immediately got like a text from Randy Philippi. I was like, we're gonna get some more suicides if you keep talking about stuff like that. And I was like, well, who do you think I'm talking about? He's like, and he knew, and I was like, well, and he's like, well, to be fair, I know three other people that like did all this other stuff too. I was like, okay, whatever. I mean, it's obvious to a couple of us who I'm talking about, but like, I mean, but it's like, he was still one of my best friends. Like, I visited him after CEDU like a couple times and like stayed at his house, and it's not like, I mean, but it was like like teaching your brain to filter stuff out was like crazy. Like it's hard to explain to like people that like to not think about stuff, or like, yeah, you just teach yourself not to like think sexual thoughts about somebody that you obviously love, or like think negative thoughts about people that do like weird things, or yeah, that's hard to explain to people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys did it with all those hormones running around your bodies, man.
Yeah,
Oh my
so I
God.
mean, so you have to go home and like have a break. um, yeah, no, but like I was talking to I was texting with Leanne. She like does not. She wants me to like if is to be interviewed. She does like have her her face like blocked out, but she wants to be in it. But like,
Is this
um,
Bankin?
no, yeah, Leanne Bank, yeah.
Awesome.
She's really funny, but she has a lot of love for you. She's like, he like to make sure that he tells you tell him that like we loved him, and like he was there for us, and he was like one of the good people, and like you like kept us laughing, you know what I mean? And yeah. So
You tell her if she doesn't do the interview and she wimps out and it has to be hidden, that I'm gonna take her to a rap.
yeah. No, but it was I mean I am gonna have to like go through and like explain like all the lingo and stuff like that. But yeah. So like what were the good things that you really like that like if you were gonna make a school, like let's say you were gonna make a school like a school, like what would be the things that you would have kept, like
Well,
you would do?
Well, here you go, Bun. So I actually use a lot of the CEDU stuff in my teaching to this day. I have for a
Yeah.
long time. The tool that you mentioned, to the same degree you feel your sorrow, same degree you feel your joy. I use that with John Keats' poem, Ode on Melancholy. I use that tool. I have the kids write about it. We explore how our community and the world in general, but specifically in an affluent area where I grew up in, that's where I'm teaching now, is very much everybody's got to be happy, right? Sadness is not a valuable thing. You want to get over your sadness as quick as possible. So we talk about that a lot. I do a modified version of the challenge project. I call it the challenge project. Values challenge. Remember doing that?
I'm courageous and responsible. Yeah, that like when you did.
Yeah. Yeah, that sort of thing. And getting up and doing something like I can't remember what you did.
Oh,
Where you
Roz Dorothy.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Oh no,
So
what you're talking about is the
the
summit.
stretch.
Right, the
The
stretch.
stretch.
But there was
That is a common thing with all of the schools. The guy who interviewed me, I was telling him about Dorothy, and he was like, mine was Ricky Martin. I just sang Livin' La Vida Loca. That was
oh
his
my
thing.
God. So okay, I'm gonna put a
Sorry,
pin
go
in the values challenge thing and continue on this. So my stretch was Tarzan. I was supposed to have a loincloth, a vine, and a hairy chest, and lots of and then like shaggy hair, like whatever it was, right? And
right.
so and then also we had to do like we had to have like perfectly sweetened lemonade, a
And
dozen
freshly
cookies.
baked cookies. And I think that your team did that too, right?
Yeah. So we immediately I I had so many costumes at home. Like they they gave us this van, and so we immediately drove to my place. I'm just like, oh, we got this. But the time limit, like it's there's so much, right. They do this on purpose. They don't give you enough time to do this. So people like one of the most inept human beings who I love. She's making the lemonade and doing a horrible job of it. I'm yelling at kids to go get it. There's a girl who's taking a felt tip marker and she's marking my chest with hair as I'm like yelling at like a coach for everybody to get around there. And I remember we get up in front of, right, the facilitators are really serious, right? They take this very seriously. So it's like very intimidating, even though there's my friends, and I'm up there, and I had this moment where I'm standing there in this friggin' loincloth with just ink, and I have this stupid hair, and I'm looking at this girl, Lauren, and she's Winnie the Pooh, and she has this stuffed stomach, and she's burying her head into her stomach, laughing as I'm up there because I just look so ridiculous. And I remember just giving up, just like I give up. This is just so dumb. This doesn't even matter. And that giving up, it was like, I get back to that moment so many times where it's just like all of the stress around me, like this, look at how stupid we are all being. Like, just look how stupid this is. Yeah. That is a huge positive that I took with me. The values challenge, that was the one before, I think it was after the I Want to Live. And then it was the values, and there was some, I can't remember.
Oh, the values challenge when you to get up on stage and perform something. Yeah. And I did a speech and just went the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I sang a song, the leader of the band, I sang a song to my dad. So I've taken to that piece and brought it into my classroom where the kids challenge themselves to do something that will push after they locate their value, honesty, courage, whatever it is. And that's, if you interviewed my kids now, a lot of them would say that was life-changing. And a lot of them would say that was fucked up that we had to do that. I think some of them would say, not a lot, I think some of them would say like the English class is not a place to be doing that sort of stuff.
But also that's like the kind of stuff that like if you're an adult, you look back, you're like, oh, I had that one teacher that challenged us to think about really important fucking stuff, and that's like what makes people great. So like I mean, but it's different when you're a student and like you're there and you're forced to be there, and like I mean it's. But yeah. I'm sure you know that. Yeah. That's so cool that like yeah.
So I was going to say, as a staff member, this is something you guys probably haven't thought about, is that there were breakouts weekends with parents. So your guys' families, those who opted in, would come up to this big hotel, this resort. And I think this happened like every 3 to 6 months, probably 6 months.
I think it was like 4. I think it was like every 4 months. I can't remember if it was 3 or 6 either, but I think it might have been like every 4 or something like that.
Yeah. And so there would be some of the CEDU program, a lighter version, would be done with the parents to try to help out. And one of another memory that sticks with me is helping to run one of these sessions. I'm looking out at this sea of probably like 80 to 100 faces of the richest dudes and dudettes in the world, like some of the most famous faces in the world, right? Rock stars, celebrities, and they are looking to me. I'm probably 28 years old at the time. They're looking to me totally lost. They're hanging on every word. Just tell us what to do. Tell us what to do. And these guys had all of the status, fame, money, everything that we mark as a success. They had it all, and yet they were desperately lost.
Yeah.
Like desperately lost. And it was such a trip. It was such a trip.
Yeah. Yeah, that is interesting. When it's interesting, like, so one of the times when me and Jackie Mandel visited, Dennis like picked me up and he's like, okay, so there's this new girl that she's there, and everyone says that everyone thinks that she reminds us of you, and her name is Paris, and will you like talk to her for like a week and hang out with her? I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. So I meet this skinny, tiny, anorexic girl who only talks about like, why can't I have mascara? And like, she was really sweet, but like I wish I could remember more of her, but like I made her tell she like told me her story. It was basically she like would dance. She would get like leave her house at 3 a.m. to go just dance on top of bar tables and live on the top floor of the Waldorf Astoria, and like like it was like, I was kind of encouraged, but she would talk to me because I had makeup on, you know what I mean? And like could wear black, and you know what I mean? And I, was allowed to
That's
do whatever we
hilarious.
wanted, like when you came back in as an alumni, you were basically like allowed to walk, you had free range of the
Yeah.
school basically.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and
I
my
was
kids
running
just go
Discovery at the
by and I
time.
see her. I'm driving in Philadelphia and I see her on the side of a bus for iceberg jeans. I just see Paris Hilton. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. I remember her. I was running Discovery at the time, work ethic, and I'm bringing her in, and I hand her a rake so she can go help out rake, and she looks at it, and she wasn't BSing. She's like, "What is that?" she had never she had never seen a rake before. She had never seen one before.
How long was she there for that you remember?
It was only a few weeks,
Yeah.
and then she wasn't hacking it. She was stubborn. I actually really
That's
liked
why.
her.
So I was the exact same way. Like I refused through the truth. Like I didn't do the truth. I just refused through it. Like
Yeah.
everyone makes fun of me because I didn't do the battle of the bands. Because I was like, I'm not gonna sit there and pretend to fucking play guitar. Like I play guitar. This is so fucking uncool. This is not a privilege that I get to pretend to air guitar to fucking Quiet Riot. Like I don't get what. Like I was so mad. I was like, this is so lame. I was like, yeah, they're like, Gretchen from the admin came out like screaming, like playing, like to Quiet Riot, and like we were supposed to like pretend to, play air guitar to it. And I was like, no, absolutely fucking not. Like,
This is where I draw the line.
And I was like,
This.
nope, sorry, not doing that. And like, I forever, throughout my entire time of being in CEDU, was like, Kari refused like the one cool thing you get to do at CEDU, and that's battle the bands. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm sorry, it's not cool. I'm an actual musician now. Oh, but yeah, that's so. But like, so she like hardcore refused. Now, yeah, that was. People are like, when I tell people about going there, and they're like, oh, I wouldn't have. I would have just done this or this. I'm like, well, no, you don't think they figured.
Yeah. It'll just get worse.
So it's also interesting. So after I was there for maybe a year, my older brother got sent to RMA, and then he like basically he was like almost 18. He's like he liked it there, like, and like was trying to like he pretty much like could talk his way. He was like they probably should have just kicked him out anyway because he was like too smart to be there, kind of a thing. Like,
yeah.
Like any kind of weird thing of like, that if like maybe I don't know, any kind of weird like he would just like kind of expose, and like he probably should have. He was like he would get kicked out of like any cult, like any like organization. Like he got actually kicked out of being in a monastery. But yeah, like but then he got sent to Ascent and then BCA right before the riot. And that got pulled out. But like he really like wishes that he could have gone through a Profit, because he like thinks, it could have been like super beneficial, and it's totally true. I mean, it could have, but yeah, it's like it's harder when it's like something that's like you're forced to do and it's an abusive situation, when it's like an adult screaming things that you're like, learning about life lessons. It was, there was parts of it that were really hard. But if you're an adult and you're doing it and you see kids like learning amazing stuff, I can imagine that being like completely, hugely fulfilling. I don't, it's like Randolph, I'm going to talk to Randolph soon. And I don't remember anything specific that he did bad to me. Like, I don't have any negative memories of him like saying anything mean or like, giving any superly harsh punishments or anything like that. But like, he's very in denial that anybody could, you know what I mean? Or that like, but like somebody did an interview with him and he's like, well, what did you consider what the profits were, and he was like, it was basically like conditioning. It was like, like, I mean, it was, it was like, uh, changing, it was behavior modification, you know what I mean? Um, but yeah, but I mean, like, I mean, I have friends all over the fucking world. Tina Rahman, do you remember Tina Rahman?
Yeah.
Bangladesh. Like I saw her, she came and visited here like, it wasn't even that long ago. It was like maybe 10 years ago. And yeah, like she came to New York City and she was staying in Manhattan. Like I live in Connecticut and I came to visit her. And we spent a couple days together. We did see like we like went to like I'd never been to the freaking not the World Trade Center, that's gone. What's the freaking tallest building in New York City? Oh,
Empire State Building?
yes, we went there. When you're from here, you don't do things like that.
Yeah.
We were walking around Times Square, and this guy was like, "We have to fill seats. Dave Chappelle is at this comedy place, and we need to fill a seat. Will you come see Dave Chappelle?" She's like, "No, I want to go eat at this McDonald's." That's what Tina Rahman says. I'm like, hold on. This is like the most popular comic in America. Like, we have to go
Oh
see
my
Dave
God.
Chappelle because he was like testing out new material and we wanted to fill seats. And she's like, no, like, let's go to McDonald's. We go into the McDonald's and the guy comes, balls. He's like, I'm being serious, right? Like, this isn't a joke. I was like, yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what to do.
That is hilarious. That is hilarious. What a dork.
Like, it's hard to argue. Like, I'll see, like Facebook, like me and Jackson. My friendship with Jackson is like the best thing that I've ever had in my whole life. Like, we did date for like a good amount of time afterwards, but like it got to the point where like uh I had to teach him that he couldn't like, your father is famous, you're not famous. Like, I'm not a groupie. Like, you don't get to like it got to the point where like there was one time we were on tour with his dad. I'm definitely not. This is definitely coming out. We were on tour with his dad. It was when Young was on tour. It was CSN and Y.
Wow.
And so that means that's like 4 times the amount of money they make that tour.
Oh yeah.
So we were at the Waldorf Astoria in Boston, and this girl was like, "Oh, so you're not sleeping in Jackson's hotel room tonight. You're staying in the room that my grandmother bought for me and my sister to stay in." And I was like, all right. And so like, I mean, and there was just but I mean, it just happened to deal with weird shit. And I was like, okay, I had to say to his mom, your son's not the rock star. Like, I'm not gonna put up with something. But it got to the point where like he moved out here, and I was like, yeah, like you can move out here, but I only got it so that I'm not being with you. Like, we can be friends, but you don't get to be with me. You don't treat women like that. But like it taught him that he can't do that. Just because we were so close. Do you know what I mean? That like, and I was able to teach him that, and now he's like married and has 3 kids, and like he's still like my best friend. Like, I went to his wedding, like we talk constantly all the time.
That's awesome.
But like if I didn't have that, like he's like the most, like he knows me so well, like, you know what I mean, like, and it's like, even if we don't have family, like we have people that like we went through this amazing thing together, because the amount of like the emotions that we felt were just at a monumental level that like most people don't even ever feel. So it's like, how can you ever think something like that would be bad? You know what I mean? So but yeah, like it was hard for me, like specifically, like the way they dealt with my mom dying. Like, I was on bands for my entire family when I went home twice. Like my mom died, I got to go home, went to like the hospital, and like I got in trouble for talking to my aunt in the hospital room as I was like talking to my mom who's in a coma, and she died the day I was there. And then Kathy Prince brought me back and forth. John Prince's wife, and I was on was on bands for my entire family and everybody the entire time. So it's like that, like it's always messed me up for forever. You know what I mean? So it's hard, but like, Jack, like, my best friend there, Jackie, she was there because she got kicked out of Cascade for fucking with her diabetes, right? And then she was really hard to like. Like, even now, Leanne really wants me to call her and make nice with her. But like, she was just so fucking stupid about so much shit. And she just like, Like she was like, there's just so much stuff that I found unforgivable in her as a human being, even now, even with all even with all my CEDU love for her, I still am like, I can't, like, there's just stuff that she's done that I can't, you're so stupid. Like,
Yeah.
like, was she the, like she might have, like, she is, yeah. And it's just like, you have to choose to not, like, not everybody is fantastic. Like, I mean, it sucks because, like, Leanne, it makes Leanne so sad that, like, I won't talk to her. It makes her so sad, but, like, I just can't, I can't. Or, like, like, I know that, like, Heather, Damian, and Jackson, like, disagreed about something political, and I'm like, I would think that, you guys were in the same peer group, like, and you're never going to talk to each other again because of some politics. It's like, that's really stupid. Like, it's not like, it's like not talking. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's just, or like Susie Tierney is a really, really pro life, and like yelled at me about talking to Jackson after graduation because she heard that he had a girl get an abortion. It's like, don't talk to Jackson anymore. Like,
Tierney's pro-life?
yeah, super. Like,
that surprises me, huh?
Like, holding pictures of dead babies.
Interesting.
Outside of Planned Parenthood, pro-life. Like, when
I would have seen her go the opposite
way.
When
MySpace was a thing, that was her MySpace was just for, like, the fetuses everywhere because she's adopted. And so, like, that was like, like, so she thinks it's like, when she, yeah, but like, yeah, she, like, people get super, political, and it's like, I don't think that, we already have enough shit to deal with than getting, like, political about stuff about, but it's hard. I had to fucking yell at Randy because he was like, I think you're on too much medication. If you just, like, don't take your meds for a long time, you'll be better. I was like, man, you can't say that to somebody that's like, I'm very mentally ill. Like, it's taken me a long time to get on these meds. Like, you can't just say stuff to people like that. Like, it's really irresponsible.
Yep.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, like, because, I don't know, we care about each other a lot. How many people do you still talk to from there? Probably fucking a ton, right? Because you were there for years.
Yeah, no, not a lot actually.
Like, how many CEDU Facebook friends do you think you have?
Probably a good deal, although I'm not on Facebook that much anymore, but I would say probably a good number, I would say.
We have like 100 Facebook friends in common. That's, like, for a staff member, it's a fucking insane amount because that means, like, nobody really had a problem with you at all. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
that's, I don't know. It's yeah. I'm sorry. It's funny you sent me that text. It's like, you should. What are you going to do this whole thing about? And I'm like, I don't know yet. I just know that, like, I think that this is an important, like, topic, or, like, I think that our school was just very specifically different because, like, okay, so the kid that I talked to, like, their schools were different. Like, they were locked up. Like, they had to get in and out with a fucking magnet, like, with a magnetic, like, fucking thing that, like, to get in and out of stuff. Like, there was like 600 fucking kids, and, like, there weren't peer groups. It was like jail. And then, like, theirs were called seminars. They weren't profits, and, like, there was like a couple hundred people that would go through them at the same time, and, like, his was, like, messed up, like.
And everybody you talk to from a different school, it's going to be such different experiences. So I don't know, like, I'm not sure if I was in your position, I'm not sure what story I would be after, knowing that there's so many different stories out there. Like, yeah, I would. It would be tough.
I mean, mine. It's just that, like, I think that, like, that. I mean, because it's just basically like there should be regulations on these schools, like, you know what I mean, like I have all of the fucking, I have a printouts of all of the profits and stuff like that, and, like, every word, it was a real, like, I've seen them, like, Dennis sent them out, like, and to, like, there's a girl that's, like, pretty much documented everything, like, all the, that she can. She's named Lathrop, and has, like, all the paperwork that like her parents got and like all the correspondence like to and from CEDU between her and her mom and like or CEDU and her mom like all the bills and everything, that like, and then just like handbooks for everything and all the lingo and stuff like that. And it's like, I mean, it is by definition a cult. Like it was definitely a cult. Like, but like that's why it was tricky. But like the other schools it's just it's abusive. And like other schools, I think that like, it's just, I don't even think that there's a question of like, there's not even happiness there. Like when I was talking to the kid about like his school, like there's no happiness in his school. Like his like they were just miserable. But like you threw me in the snow all the time. Like, you could run by me and throw me in the snow. And like stuff like that was encouraged, like the letting your inner child out. So it was like, there were really good things about it, but like the extreme to which we had to learn them was like super, traumatic for a lot of people. But, it's hard to explain to people too that like, there was like a point where I was on a table for like I wasn't really getting it. I wasn't really in it, the program. I wasn't like screaming at the floor. I wasn't like, really with the program. And Christina Ruffalo sat at my table and was like, you have, this is your life. Like, if your life is this long, and like, maybe this is your life right here, but like, and maybe like this small amount of time of your life, it could make this rest of your life a lot better you're going to learn a lot of shit that's going to, make the rest of your life better, because you're going to be smarter. And like, I still do think that happened. You know what I mean? Like, I still do think that, that like, they forced us to learn life lessons fucking fast and early so that like, life might be easier, or I don't really know, but I don't know. It was, I don't know what I'm trying to say anymore.
So here's some things I'll add as being a staff member that are traumatic. So you see success stories like I look at you, and a lot of the kids that you just named who are now happy, healthy adults. But I can also name so many kids that had my heart that didn't make it. When I was there, I don't know if you graduated by this time, but I think about Katie Getz, who was, I love this kid, and she was just goofy, and also just she played Puck, and we did Midsummer Night's Dream on stage there, and she was Puck. And there was this one rap that I was running, and she was just down. She would go up and down, and she was down, and I could see it, but there was just so much business in this rap that I just never got to her, right? And that night she killed herself in her dorm, and I still have that question of like, if I had just said something, would she still be around, right? And it's not really guilt anymore. I've worked through that, but I still have that thought of like, what if, like, would she still be around? Her best friend, Heather, who totally had my heart, and was just a good kid. She made it through the entire program. She was a success story. And then she fell asleep while she was driving in accident, and she's dead, like just dead afterwards. I can go through all these names, like Jessica Collins.
I know, just because she was my little sister. I was just going to say her name. Yeah.
Right? I mean, there's so many of those.
So I visited another time. No, it was that time, or no, you know what? It was that time that I visited, and Paris. No, I don't know if it was when Paris Hilton was there. One time I visited, and I gave Jessica cigarettes. And she's like, I'm about to graduate. Because my class. So okay. Well, that's what did you guys say about when my fucking when we'll come back to it, but about when we all got naughty right before we graduated. Remember when we all were having sex with each other right before we graduated?
I totally forgot about that. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So fuck that. But yeah. So yeah. Did you guys like? How were you supposed to handle that? Because basically it was like just squashed. Like they were like, you guys fucked up, but we're still gonna let you guys graduate.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So when I came back to visit, Jessica was like, "You guys fucked it up for all of us," because we were mad because we had our older student dorm, but we didn't get any privileges that the other people had. We got no extra like older student privileges. So we're like, "Fuck that, we're taking them." So fucking Tina Johannesson that somehow got a carton of Marb Red. Red 100s, a carton. And we all were making out and smoking Marlboros, like just hiding like packs like everywhere. And then one day, we were in like a rap or something, and do you remember Alana Blackman, the gang member from Chicago?
No.
She had just gotten in there, and she walked in. She was in Discovery. She walked in, and on the blackboard or a whiteboard, she wrote "Summit is dirty," and then walked away. And we were all like, and it was so obvious that we just reacted so guilty that it was like, oh fuck, we're all caught. We were all super, super caught. But so Jessica, so I went to visit her, and she's like, "You fucked it up for all. Give me and Sarah Mahalo some cigarettes to smoke." So I did, and so she hit him in a sock. And later that night, I told Randy Philippi and Jackie Mendel, and Randy's like, "You have to tell him them." I'm like, "Man, what the fuck, man? That's not why I didn't mean to do this. Like, come on." And they're like, "Well, if you don't, I'm going to." So I think I told Dennis or somebody, like, or like, I don't even remember who I told, but like, I had,
That's
and then she called me and she was like, "That was so fun." She's like, I'm like, she was really mad. Like, she was like, it was like hell after that. Like, it made it so much worse. And like, then she killed herself like right afterwards. And so it's like, I mean, I didn't feel like, it wasn't, but like, it was, it was like, fuck, did I do, yeah. But, and then Shama, you remember Shama?
I don't.
No, she was like an Indian girl. She was my roommate, and she had the Hindu Bible. I think is it the Bhagavad Gita or whatever, and she couldn't say the word Nirvana because of the band Nirvana.
Hilarious.
So like she would be talking about her religion, and I'd be looking through her book, and it was so beautiful, and she'd always stop herself from saying this one word. She's like, "I can't say this one word because it's a band, because it's a pop-off." Yeah. And she killed herself, but she was having a lot of health problems. But like, I had like a support page for like CEDU people, and like she ran a lot of it, and like was really like helping a lot of like people like talk to each other about it, and fucking shot herself like right in the middle of like us talking about crazy stuff. And like yeah, so that, and she was my little sister, and I was her dorm head. And I still have a little piece of pottery that she made me when I was there. And then Chris Porter, before you were there, Bo Riddle killed them. Both of them killed themselves. And there's Adam Camille. Mm-hmm. That we don't know what. I think he overdosed. I still talk to his mom. Mm-hmm. And then who else? I think it's all I can think of right now. What do you know about? So then there's the whole thing about there's like right now there's a detective somewhere in Los Angeles County that found out that there's 3 kids that were never found, and one of them was around the time that like I was there, like it was like a month or 2 after I'd gotten there, but I think he was in the middle school. But then it's because did you hear about this guy, James Crummell, that was working as
yeah, I have heard about this. Yes.
So I'm pretty sure I fucking saw him. So
really?
So Pam was like, there's a new psychiatrist, like go see him. Because I didn't take medication there. I should have been taking it, but I didn't. So I remember Pam was like, there's a new psychiatrist, like go see him. And it was like a weird thing. It was like, just, and it was like it's to me, it was like, it was like a weird, I didn't know why either. It wasn't like a scheduled thing. And it was like they had made like some sort of office for him next to where like in between where like the admin building and that dorm was, near like the graduation stage. I don't know. So
I know what you're talking about.
Some sort of weird office around there.
Yeah.
But like he invited me in the room and we were talking and he put his head down on the desk like this and looked at me. And I was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. And I just walked out and walked right into the house and walked up to Pam and told her exactly what happened. I was like, yeah, so he put his head down and looked at me and that was enough for me to leave. And she's like, okay, I think you did the right thing. And I'm pretty sure that it was that guy that with the freaking mustache that like was the serial killer.
That's crazy.
That's what but I think that might have been him. But I mean, it was no fault of CEDU, obviously.
Wow.
But I think that might have been him. It's very interesting. But like when I tell people that story, I'm like, but you don't understand. Like the fact that I walked out, that was not allowed. So like I must have felt very unsafe because like. The fact that I just left, that was not a thing. Like you just, you know what I mean? And that, because I'd only did that the first time my first day, I got into a rap, and all the screaming and I was like, okay, no. And I just walked out. And then all around the house later that day, Bill Valentine, he's like, there's a lot of swinging doors to raps lately. And I'm like, So like, that definitely, like, it took me years and years to realize, okay, that was 100% for me. That was not like, there was not a lot of swinging doors. He was trying to get the new recruit to fall in line.
Yes.
You're like, no, like, you can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. It's out of the rules or whatever. But, yeah. Oh, man.
Anything else?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, do you have any other questions for me?
Yeah, no, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. I don't want like, it's not like, yeah, I want to be honest with you because I care immensely about you. Like, it's about you, like John Olivey, like I care immensely about, like, I feel like Randolph is completely delusional what he thinks that CEDU was. But like, because I think there's like a thing where like, you just can't see, you know what I mean? Like I talked to Heather Damien and I'm like, she's like, I don't think CEDU was a cult at all. And I'm like, don't know. I'm like, how are we going to talk? I'm like, okay, ask people about like, it's not about our difference, like celebrate your differences and your differences in opinion. And I'm not like doing this for like, I don't know, I'm trying to be like a journalist or a vlogger or anything. But I think that like the opinions about it and like how they are so different and they are rooted in so much and that's really important. And that like, that's the polarizing views of it are very important.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And, yeah.
And I would push, here, I'll push back on you in this way. Let's say we agree it's a cult. Okay, then so what? It seems like there is a negative that has a negative connotation, and I probably would agree with that. But like objectively, like what is a cult, and is it actually? I mean, there's lots, you could argue lots of our religions are cults, right?
Oh, I would say absolutely they are.
Right. So or being a pro football fan is like a cult, whatever. So is designating it as a cult important? And
Right,
if so, like what new insight does that give you, or why is that important? I guess that's where I would be interested in that discussion.
Well, because, yeah, I mean, It's hard. It's hard. I mean, it's hard because you didn't, because it wasn't hard. Not gonna be like it wasn't hard for you. Like, 'cause I remember what your eyes looked like when they cried. I remember like where your veins were on your whites of your eyes when they cried. You know what I mean? So it's not like I
Right.
don't know it wasn't hard for you, but like, it's harder. It's like I don't know.
I was there by choice. You were not.
That's the whole thing. Yeah, like that's the whole, yeah, and that's, yeah. I mean, and that is the big difference. Yeah, but like. So but yeah, it's like it's hard. And I've never been able to have a therapist in my whole life. I've tried to have a therapist, and it's just I can't, like, because it's like that was I did all the therapy. Like, what do you know
Yeah.
that they don't know? Do you know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Like I know, you know what I mean? It's like it's not like I'm smarter than therapists or whatever, but it's like, what are you gonna tell me that I don't know?
Right.
Like.
Yeah. You've got the tools. It's just like, are you using
Right,
them
I
or
know all
not?
the tools, right? So it's like, I mean, right, or like my dad will say that, he'll try to say that, something, and I'd be like, yeah, I learned that. I learned it. Yeah, I know that. But what's funny is that, so a lot of stuff when I'm dealing with my dad, it's like I try to tell him what, that this was painful for me and it was really hard, and he tells me that stuff that happened, like abuses that my mother gave, how my mom beat me and like all the reasons why I was there. I don't remember any of it. Like every trauma before CEDU that happened to me that I cried about at CEDU, I don't remember it anymore at
Huh.
all. He's like read to me stuff that like that had my mom, how my mom abused me, and I'm like, that was completely erased. Thanks for reminding me. Like I that was gone. Like
Do
it
you know?
sounds to somebody else. It happened to somebody else completely.
Do you know? Do you have any ideas about what's going on with that with you? Is it like? Is it? Do you think you repressed for your protection or?
No, it was like, no, because like we had the dyads, because we did all that. I cried so much, like, because that was like pretty much the only thing I had to cry about was that my mom beat me. So it was like I cried so much about that. I feel like it just was like, you can only wring dry a sponge so much, then like that's it. Like it's
Yeah.
just,
So
and
you're
that
done.
sponge just dried out. So
Huh.
that's it. But like yeah, I don't think it was like any, but like uh I mean, yeah, like for now I don't think I dream about CEDU anymore, but it took until like a couple years ago where like at least 3 times a week, 8 months out of a year, I would just be streaming that I'm there, and I'm like, I'm already graduated. Why am I here? I know all this stuff. Like, and I'd be like telling them everything about that happened at the summit, and I'd be like, I'm telling Discovery kids of everything that happens in the
Oh my
IMT. Get me in
God.
trouble, kick me out, send me to a cent. Or trying to find a phone and like not being able to dial numbers, trying to tell my dad like I've already been here, like so much, and like I've talked to other people, and they feel the same way. It's like we're there and we're like just trying to get out and trying to, because, and it's not even post-traumatic stress disorder. It's complex post-traumatic stress disorder. It's what Vietnam vets and like prisoners of war have, because if you feel like that for a super long amount of time, it becomes like internalized, and that's when we like just dream about it for forever. Like yeah, it happens. It's like very common, but it
That
doesn't
sounds
happen to
horrible.
me much anymore. I haven't had it in a while, but like I've had like a couple like my last one of my therapists like, why don't you dream that if you're in that dream that your father is coming to get you. I'm like, that would have never happened because he's dead. But yeah, but it's hard to find a therapist to like talk about it. 'Cause it's like, oh, but because we did learn good things, but it's like like I had fucking Bill Valentine scream sexual disclosures at my face. You know what I mean? Like when in the summit, like it's like that's pretty intense, or like um yeah, I mean, there's
Yeah,
we're scary. I mean,
that's
it's like, yeah, I mean, I know, but it's like, yeah. And I'm not trying to be like, I'm not trying to tell you to be, but, 'cause I feel like you and Nancy and Joel and Kurt and like, most of like the staff that were just teachers, like John Levy and freaking like Carl and like, you guys
Carl.
had no fault there. Dennis, like, but like Gretchen, who like all she did was like sit in the admin building and like lie to parents and say your kids are gonna say crazy things when you talk to them, and they're gonna, or I mean, but but yeah, I mean, there was, I mean, you were only there for 4 years. I mean, I mean, you knew, it tells me that like you weren't really like, but you could tell there were also people that like that was their entire, like they got off so much on like the power that they had. And it because I mean, and that's like, I mean, what the fuck was Pam Bell gonna do after that? Or you know what I mean? Like just like, or what, yeah. I mean, and yeah, I mean, the fact that I already knew that you're gonna agree with that. But I mean, but yeah, what do you think about that? Like, so much is this gonna be edited crazy? Yeah. Yeah, I thought that I was just gonna be able to big press record and just let stuff, but I'm like, no, it's so not gonna. And I'm not trying to like make a documentary and stuff, but I just feel like I was trying to just get other people to talk to this other kid, and they just wouldn't. But everyone was like, but I'd talk to you, and I was like, all right, so fuck, I'm on disability because my dad's rich and figured lawyers out to get me on it, so okay, like. I have a hobby of fixing guitars for fucking famous people sometimes, and then I'll just do this because I just like, I think that like, a lot of us just hurt because like nobody believes us, like we'll tell them like, yeah, you can explain like, like why I can't hear Imagine, or like
Carter, why don't you start there? Start with, maybe that's your opening. A lot of us are really hurt and no one believes us, and maybe that's your hook, and then see where it goes. Because you're definitely gonna have to do some editing and trimming it, and like
no, so I'm not, and I can't like, there's, I mean, I'm not gonna say people's names, but like, I didn't, I didn't want to be like yeah, it's funny. How cool is it that Adam Egget runs the freaking
Isn't that hilarious? It's so hilarious.
He's like so famous. Do you know this genre? He gets to tell like the most famous, funny people in the world what to do.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Oh my god.
Like right? Yeah. Like he started from the bottom up. Like at the Comedy Store. Yeah, and he just like now he's like he has nights where like he has to like decide whether freaking, Eddie Murphy is gonna fucking like when he's gonna start doing comedy that night.
Yeah. He was on Joe Rogan.
Insane. It's so cool.
I know.
What I think is funny is if you noticed that he'll always wear like a jacket, or like he has tons of band tattoos all over his arm, and like patches. And I'm the same way. Like I put patches and stickers, and I love just like putting anything with a band on it that I love. I will I have two band tattoos. I have a pink tattoo and a belly tattoo, but like I think it's because like the band, like the whole having bands on, bands of that whole thing. It was like that hurts so bad. Not feeling. Remember one time, Karis Kinnerly is just walking around. She's like singing "Pets" by Porno for Pyros. She's like, "We'll make great pets. We'll make great pets." I'm like, Karis, you're popping off. She's like, "Oh shit." It's like stuff like that would happen all the time.
Oh my god.
But yeah, it's hard, like the whole pulling each other up. It's an interesting thing in life later to not. So it's like when people are like, especially with the police, or like if you see something like crazy happening, I always fucking say something. Like I will always be a snitch. Like I will always like, my boyfriend hates like that I'm a cop. He's like, you're such a cop collar. I'm like, well, what do they mean? They're like.
That's so great.
I'm always so like, great. Like how like at CEDU, like if you saw like a piece of trash on the ground when you had to pick it up. Like I still do that shit, or like.
Oh my god.
I was doing my hangers. And I started spacing them a finger apart. I was like, oh, my god, I messed it all.
Oh my god.
But yeah, no, I'm glad that like I got to talk to you about like how I want, like what I don't know what the audience is. I don't really know, but it is about like, like Elena Gardner, like she, when she saw my post, she's like, like I freaked out when like, like I had a panic attack when I saw you just posted about this, and I'm like, has everyone forgotten, or like, or I mean, it's it was like it was traumatic for a lot of us, but it was like, what, nobody experiences something like that. Like, it's super hard to explain like what we went through, like, but in like, in a good and bad way. It's like like all the lingo and like, no, you just knew people on such a crazy fucking level that, like adults, you knew, like you and like, just like, you knew people at such an immense level that like you would never, you never have that again.
Yeah.
But I think that's also hard for some people because like, because you never have that again, that it's I think it kind of makes it so that if something bad happened, or if something, they just kind of don't want to think about it because
Yeah.
but yeah, or like who like freaking Dylan Mashburn. I don't even know if you knew you knew him. You remember him.
Yeah.
He was one of the around James Brown constantly, and then like, but like when we started talking about CEDU on Facebook, like anybody that had anything negative to say, he just deleted us, or like he's like whatever, and it was like, dude, like you know, you were super likable there, you know what I mean? And like, I don't know, like, I mean, there because we had like everyone, you was your friend. You was, you couldn't like, there was no losers there. There's no popular people there. There was no, you weren't allowed to judge people there. So that like, when they came to the world and that stuff really did happen, I think they looked back on it a little nicer maybe than, I don't know. Oh my God, my brain is on fire.
If I'm gonna run now, but
Yeah,
if
can
you
I talk to you again like later
yes,
yeah, and if you think of anything that you want to talk about, but yeah, like it was really awesome to talk to you about this, and uh yeah, thank you so much.
for you, anything, kiddo, anything, you
Awesome.
name it.
Bye, Jamie. Thank
See
you.
ya.